She accidentally sent a flirty text to a cold tech millionaire. His reaction left her speechless. The soft glow of the laptop screen was the only light in Callie Monroe's apartment. Midnight again. The city outside hummed faintly distant traffic, an ambulance somewhere, the whisper of rain on glass. Her tired fingers hovered over the keyboard, trying to finish another report before her shift ended. Her phone buzzed. A message from Riley, her best friend and coworker. Asterisk. Still awake? That new client Hale Technologies total nightmare, right? Asterisk. Callie groaned, stretching her sore neck. You have no idea, she murmured, typing back, but her fingers hesitated. The words she wrote next came straight from exhaustion and caffeine. Asterisk. If I ever meet that arrogant tech guy in person, I would probably flirt with him just to watch him lose control. Asterisk. She hit send, then froze. Her blood ran cold. She had sent it to the wrong number. Her eyes widened as she saw the name on the chat. Asterisk, asterisk, Grayson Hale, asterisk, asterisk. Not Riley, not her friend, her company's biggest client, the CEO. Oh my God, she whispered, staring at the screen as the 3 dots appeared typing, then stopped. Message read. No reply. She buried her face in her hands, heart pounding so loud she could hear it echo in her ears. The next morning, sunlight crept through the blinds, sharp and unforgiving. Callie dragged herself out of bed, replaying the disaster in her mind. Maybe he would ignore it. Maybe he had thousands of messages. Maybe. Her phone buzzed again. One new message. Asterisk, asterisk, Grayson Hale. Asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk. Noted. Asterisk. That single word hit harder than a lecture. It was clean, cold, and terrifyingly professional. She wanted to disappear. At the office, Callie avoided eye contact with anyone, clutching her coffee like a shield. Riley leaned across the desk, whispering, "Girl, you look like you saw a ghost. What happened?" Callie exhaled shakily. "I may have texted Mr. Hale last night." Riley blinked. "Texted him? Like, good evening, sir." Callie's face turned crimson. "More like, something I cannot ever unsend." Riley's jaw dropped. "Callie, you did not!" "I did," Callie whispered, eyes wide. And he replied, "What did he say?" "One word, noted." Riley winced. "Oh, that is worse than if he yelled at you." The day dragged on painfully slow. Every email notification made Callie flinch. Every phone ring twisted her stomach tighter. She hid behind her monitor, avoiding her manager's gaze, praying her mistake would vanish into the digital void. But just before noon, her inbox pinged. Asterisk, asterisk, subject, asterisk, asterisk, project review meeting. Tomorrow. Her breath caught. Tomorrow. Meeting. With him. For a moment, she could not move. She just stared at the words, her heart thudding like thunder. Outside, New York shimmered in the sunlight, alive and indifferent. Inside, Callie felt the world closing in. She had made one stupid mistake, and tomorrow, she would have to face the man who now knew it. And that man was Grayson Hale, the coldest tech millionaire in the city. The next morning, the sky over Manhattan was pale gray, the kind that promised rain. Callie Monroe stood outside the glass tower of Hale Technologies, clutching her notebook and a borrowed blazer that was half a size too big. Her reflection in the mirrored doors looked like someone trying too hard to fit into a world that did not belong to her. Inside, everything gleamed: white marble floors, chrome elevators, and people who walked like they were racing time itself. Callie took a steady breath and checked the visitor badge hanging from her neck. "You can do this," she whispered. "You are just here for a project review. You are not about to face the man whose phone you texted by accident." The elevator opened with a soft chime. She stepped out onto the 27th floor where silence ruled. At the far end of the hall, a door stood open with a gold nameplate. Asterisk asterisk Grayson Hale, Chief Executive Officer. Asterisk asterisk. Miss Monroe? A calm voice asked. She turned. A tall man in a charcoal suit, probably in his mid-30s, offered a polite nod. I am Miles Bennett, Mr. Hale's assistant. He is expecting you. Her stomach dropped. Expecting her. Not her team, not her manager, her. Callie followed him into the office. The space was vast and spotless, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A faint scent of espresso and paper filled the air. Behind a sleek black desk sat Grayson Hale. He was not what she imagined. No loud arrogance, no exaggerated gestures, just a man in a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms, eyes cool as slate. He looked up from his laptop, and for a moment their eyes met. Miss Monroe, he said evenly, closing the computer, please have a seat. His tone was calm, neutral, but she could feel the weight of authority in every word. She sat across from him, her knees brushing the edge of the glass table. I reviewed your report, he began. The customer communication model your team built is efficient. However, your suggestion in the footnote, this concept called tiny sparks, where did that come from? Callie froze. He had read her notes, the ones she never meant to include in the final draft. She cleared her throat. It was just a personal idea, sir. Something I scribbled down one night. I think people connect better when tech feels human. Grayson studied her for a long second, then leaned back. Human, he repeated quietly. That is a rare word in this building. Callie could not tell if he was mocking her or agreeing. Her pulse hammered in her throat. I like it, he said finally. That note stayed with me. Her head snapped up. You liked it? A faint smile touched his lips, almost imperceptible. Creativity deserves recognition, even when it comes from an unexpected source. There was no mention of the text message, no hint that he remembered the embarrassment that had kept her awake all night. But the longer she sat there, the more she felt that he did remember and chose not to mention it. When the meeting ended, he stood and extended a hand. Thank you, Miss Monroe. Continue developing that idea. I would like to see what you can do when you are not afraid to think differently. Her palm met his briefly, warm against cool. She murmured a polite goodbye and turned to leave, her heart racing. As the elevator doors closed, she finally exhaled, pressing a hand to her chest. Down in the lobby, Riley was waiting near the coffee bar. Well, did he fire you or fall in love with you? Callie managed a weak laugh. Neither, but he said something unexpected. Riley grinned. What, like nice to meet the woman who texted me by mistake? Callie rolled her eyes. No, he said he liked my idea. Tiny sparks. Riley's eyebrows shot up. Callie, that is huge! Callie looked toward the revolving doors, where the city blurred in motion and rain began to fall. Somewhere on the 27th floor, a cold tech millionaire was probably back at his desk, typing in silence. But for the first time since that awful night, Callie Monroe smiled, because maybe, just maybe, the mistake that almost ruined her might be the spark that changed everything. Days turned into weeks, and somehow Callie Monroe found herself working directly with Grayson Hale more often than she ever imagined. What began as a single follow-up meeting became daily check-ins, idea reviews, and late-night emails signed with his initials GH. His messages were always short, efficient, and strangely thoughtful. No emojis, no exclamation marks, just precision. Yet sometimes she could sense something warmer between the lines, like a heartbeat under steel. Their collaboration grew. Callie's tiny sparks concept, once a forgotten doodle, was turning into a full-feature proposal. She spent her days inside the polished halls of Hale Technologies, surrounded by glass and algorithms, her little notebook now sitting beside company prototypes. One Thursday evening, long after most employees had gone home, Callie sat alone in the conference room finalizing design notes. The city lights shimmered below. Her phone buzzed a new email from Grayson. Subject: Review tomorrow. Message. Stay if you can. I want your feedback on something. Her stomach fluttered. She stared at the screen, then at the clock, 8:42 p.m. The building was nearly empty. For a moment she considered ignoring it, but curiosity won. When she reached his office, the door was open. Grayson stood by the window, sleeves rolled up, the skyline reflected across the glass behind him. The glow from the city painted soft gold edges along his suit. "Sorry if it is late," he said without turning. "I just finished integrating your framework into the beta model. I thought you should see it first." Callie stepped closer, glancing at the screen on his desk. It displayed her interface design, clean, intuitive, simple. Her breath caught. "You used my prototype?" He nodded. "You built something real. I would be foolish not to test it." She smiled faintly. "You do not strike me as someone who admits being foolish." For the first time, he looked directly at her, and the corner of his mouth curved slightly. "Maybe you bring it out in me." Quote. The air between them changed, softer now, quieter. The hum of the city below seemed to fade. Callie felt her cheeks warm and quickly looked back at the screen. "Well, it looks good. Better than I imagined." Grayson leaned on the edge of the desk, studying her expression. "You still think I am arrogant?" Her head snapped up. The question caught her off guard. "What?" He folded his arms, gaze steady. "That text message. The one you sent me by mistake." Her heart stopped. The memory crashed over her like cold water. "You remember that?" "Of course," he said simply. It was the first time anyone in months had spoken to me like a real person. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. He continued, voice low. "Everyone here treats me like a brand, not a man. But you..." He paused, eyes searching hers. "You made me laugh that night. I did not even know I still could." Callie felt the room shrink around them. "I am sorry," she whispered. "It was careless." Quote. "No," he said. It was honest. Silence filled the space, delicate but charged. Outside, thunder rumbled in the distance. Callie took a small step back, needing air. "I should go. Big day tomorrow." Grayson nodded slowly. "All right, but Callie..." She turned at the doorway. "Do not ever apologize for being human. That is the whole reason this company needs you." Her throat tightened. She managed a quiet "good night," then slipped out before her composure broke. That night, rain began to pour over the city. Callie walked fast, clutching her bag, her thoughts a storm of confusion. The man she had feared for weeks, the cold tech millionaire, had just told her that her honesty mattered. Back at her apartment, she opened her notebook and stared at the first page where she had written tiny sparks ideas that make people feel alive. She thought about his words, about how his voice had softened when he said, "You made me laugh." Good old gay. The next morning, she arrived early at the office. Miles greeted her with a small nod and handed her a visitor's pass marked internal launch preview. Callie frowned. "Is this for the new app?" Miles smiled faintly. "Mr. Hale wants you to present your concept today." To the board. Her knees almost gave out. "The board? As in the entire executive board?" He nodded. "You earned this." Before she could protest, the elevator doors closed, lifting her toward the top floor. Inside the boardroom, Grayson waited. He stood at the head of the long table, calm as ever. "Good morning, Miss Monroe. You ready to change how people connect?" She looked at him, her nerves trembling, and realized that despite everything, despite the fear, the mistake, and the sleepless nights, she was ready. And for the first time since the night she sent that disastrous text, Callie Monroe smiled without hesitation. Because somewhere between embarrassment and courage, she had found her spark. The boardroom was already full when Callie Monroe stepped inside. Men and women in tailored suits murmured over sleek tablets, the faint scent of coffee and tension hanging in the air. At the head of the table, Grayson Hale stood beside a digital display bearing the words "Project Tiny Sparks." Her pulse quickened. This was real. Her idea was on that screen. Grayson's gaze met hers briefly, calm and unreadable. "Miss Monroe will be presenting the prototype we discussed," he announced. "Please give her your full attention." Dozens of eyes turned toward her. Callie swallowed hard and began. Good morning. What if technology could make people feel seen again? That was the question behind Tiny Sparks. A simple framework built not just for efficiency, but for empathy. Her voice trembled at first, but as she spoke, something shifted. The room began to listen. She explained how the new interface encouraged authentic communication, how users could share gratitude, humor, and support within their daily workflow. Her hands moved naturally, animated by passion rather than fear. When she finished, there was silence. Then, unexpectedly, applause. Not loud, but genuine. Even the stiffest executives nodded approvingly. Grayson's lips curved slightly. Well done, he said quietly. Stay for a moment. Quote, the others filed out, leaving the two of them alone in the echo of the closing door. Callie exhaled shakily. I cannot believe that just happened. You earned it, he said. Do you know how long it has been since this team applauded anyone? She laughed softly. I am guessing a while. He studied her, expression unreadable. You changed something in there today. Her cheeks flushed. It was your idea to let me present. It was my decision, he corrected gently. The idea was yours. Quote, their eyes held for a long moment, the quiet between them more intimate than words. But before Callie could speak, Miles stepped in, breaking the stillness. Mr. Hale, your next meeting is ready. Grayson gave a small nod, then looked back at her. Do not leave yet. I want to show you something. A few minutes later, he led her through a secured corridor she had never seen before. The air smelled faintly of new paint and cedar. At the end of the hall, he stopped before a frosted glass door and pressed a code. The lights came on. Inside was a wide, open room filled with blank whiteboards, shelves of design books, and rows of empty desks waiting to be claimed. On the far wall hung a sign, Tiny Sparks Lab. Callie froze. What is this? He turned toward her, his expression softening. A new division, dedicated to creative development and human-centered design. You will lead it. Her breath caught. Me, Grayson? I am not. You are, he said firmly. You are exactly what this place needs. Emotion rose in her throat. I do not know what to say. Say yes, he replied simply. For a moment, she just stared at him, overwhelmed. The woman who once feared losing her job because of a wrong text now stood at the beginning of a career she never dared to dream of. She nodded slowly, a tear escaping down her cheek. Yes. Grayson smiled genuinely this time. Good. The lab opens Monday. Make it yours. When she turned to leave, his voice stopped her. Callie. She looked back. That night you texted me, he said, his tone quiet but sincere. I thought it was just another distraction, but it reminded me that there is still warmth in the world. Thank you for that. Her lips parted, but she could not find an answer. Instead, she gave him a soft smile, one that said more than words could. As she walked out into the bright hallway, her footsteps light, Callie Monroe realized something astonishing. What began as an embarrassing mistake had become the bridge between two completely different worlds, hers and his. And for the first time, she truly believed that sometimes fate does not whisper. Sometimes it texts you by mistake. Weeks passed, and Tiny Sparks Lab came alive exactly as Grayson Hale had promised. The once empty room now glowed with light and energy. Desks were cluttered with sketches, color boards, and coffee cups. Callie Monroe walked through the space every morning with her notebook pressed against her chest, still half in disbelief that her name now appeared on the door. Grayson visited often. He never announced when he would appear. One moment the team would be debating user flow, and the next he would be standing silently behind them, listening. His presence was intimidating at first, but Callie noticed something changing. The man once described as cold and distant began to linger longer, asking questions not just about data, but about people. One afternoon he stopped by while she was reviewing interface notes. You have done well, he said simply. Callie smiled. It is not just me. Everyone here believes in the project. He nodded, glancing at the window where the city shimmered in late sunlight. That belief came from you. She looked at him, unsure what to say. Their silence stretched, filled only by the hum of computers. For the first time, she saw something unguarded in his eyes. Fatigue, maybe, or longing. Later that week, an invitation arrived in her inbox. Subject: Hale Technologies, Annual Gala. Message: attendance required for all project leads. Formal attire. Her pulse quickened. The gala was legendary, part celebration, part performance, attended by investors, executives, and the city's elite. She wondered if Grayson had written the invitation himself. Saturday evening arrived with a chill breeze over the river. Callie stood outside the Grand Hotel ballroom in a simple navy gown, hair pulled into a soft twist. The chandeliers inside glittered like captured stars. She had never felt more out of place. Miles greeted her at the entrance with a reassuring smile. "You look perfect," he said before ushering her in. Then she saw him. Grayson Hale stood on the stage, tuxedo sharp against the light, speaking to a room of hundreds. His voice carried through the speakers, confident and controlled. This year, our most meaningful innovation did not come from a boardroom or an algorithm. It came from a note scribbled in a notebook, a reminder that empathy can exist in code. He paused, letting the words sink in. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the mind behind Tiny Sparks Lab, Callie Monroe." Applause thundered. Callie froze, heart racing as every face turned toward her. Miles gave her a gentle nudge, and she forced herself to move. Her heels clicked against the marble floor as she climbed the steps to the stage. Grayson extended his hand, steady and sure. "Congratulations," he said softly when she reached him. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the crowd. He leaned closer, his tone low. "You earned every second of this." Quote. For a fleeting moment, their eyes met under the chandelier's glow. Then he stepped back, allowing the audience to applaud again before the lights dimmed for dinner. Later, as the orchestra played and conversations filled the air, Callie slipped out onto the terrace for a breath of fresh air. The city stretched below, endless and alive. Behind her, the door opened. She turned, already knowing who it was. Grayson stepped beside her, hands in his pockets. "You disappeared," he said quietly. "I needed air," she replied. "I am not used to all this attention." He nodded, looking out at the skyline. "Neither am I, even after all these years." They stood in silence, the wind brushing against them, carrying the sound of laughter from inside. Finally, he spoke again. "You changed this company, Callie, and you changed me." Her heart stood up. "Grayson." He looked at her, his voice steady but softer than she had ever heard it. "That night you sent that text, I thought it was a mistake. But now I know it was the beginning of everything that matters." For a moment, words failed her. Then, smiling through the shimmer of tears, she whispered, "Best wrong text ever sent." He smiled back, the rare kind that reached his eyes, and together they stood beneath the city lights, two people who had found truth in the most unexpected way. The next morning, sunlight poured through the glass walls of Hale Technologies. The gala was all over the news. Photos of Grayson Hale and his rising creative lead, Callie Monroe, filled every business column. Headlines called them the duo redefining empathy in tech. Callie sat at her desk, scrolling through the articles with disbelief. The night before felt like a dream, his words, the applause, the look in his eyes when he said she changed him. Yet beneath her excitement, a quiet fear lingered. She had crossed a line between admiration and emotion, and she was not sure if she belonged there. A soft knock pulled her from her thoughts. Grayson stood at the door of her office, holding 2 coffees. "I thought you might need this," he said. She blinked, startled. "You brought me coffee?" He smiled faintly. "Do not be too surprised. I am told it is something humans do." She laughed despite herself and took the cup. "Thank you." He leaned against the doorway, watching her for a moment. "You did well last night, better than anyone expected, including me." "I was terrified," she admitted. "I know. But courage is not the absence of fear," he said quietly. "It is moving forward anyway." Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them, an understanding deeper than gratitude or admiration. But before either could say more, Miles appeared, carrying a folder. "Mr. Hale, your presence is needed in the executive lounge. There is a board matter." Quote. Grayson nodded, his expression shifting back to business. I will be there shortly. He turned back to Callie. We will talk later? She nodded, trying to keep her voice steady. Of course. After he left, she stared at her reflection in the computer screen. Somewhere between the awkward text and this morning's coffee, her life had changed completely. That evening, as the building emptied, Callie worked alone. Rain streaked down the windows. The city outside blurred into silver and shadow. The elevator chimed softly behind her, and she heard footsteps approach. Still here? Grayson's voice carried across the quiet room. She looked up, surprised. I was finishing the client report. What about you? I could not leave, he said. Not yet. He hesitated, then set something on her desk, a small glass frame. Inside was a printed screenshot of her original text message, the one that started everything. She stared at it, half mortified, half touched. You kept this? He nodded. It reminded me that even mistakes can lead somewhere extraordinary. Her eyes softened. Grayson, you do realize this is the most unorthodox memento ever? He smiled. Maybe, but it is honest, just like you. For a long moment, neither moved. The hum of the rain filled the silence between them. Then, slowly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny silver key attached to a tag that read Tiny Sparks Lab. This belongs to you now, he said. The lab is yours to lead completely. No more oversight. You decide where it goes next. Her throat tightened. You are serious? I am. He held her gaze. You gave this place its heart, Callie. It is only right you carry it forward. She took the key, her hand trembling slightly. Thank you for believing in me. He shook his head. Thank you for reminding me what belief feels like. Outside, thunder rolled softly across the skyline. Callie smiled through the reflection of rain and city lights. What began as one wrong message had turned into the story of her life, and maybe, just maybe, the start of something far more real. A week later, Hale Technologies buzzed with excitement. Tiny Sparks Lab had officially launched under Callie Monroe's leadership, and every employee from interns to senior developers came to see the new space. Balloons, flowers, and a banner stretched across the glass wall that read, Innovation begins with empathy. Quote, Callie stood near the entrance, shaking hands and thanking everyone who came. She still could not believe this was her life. Only a few months ago, she was terrified of losing her job over a text message. Now she was running an entire division. When the crowd finally thinned, Grayson Hale appeared at her side. He wore a simple gray suit instead of his usual black, and there was something lighter in his face. Congratulations, he said quietly. You did it. Callie smiled. We did it. Quote, he tilted his head. No. You took an idea and turned it into a movement. I just gave you a place to start. They stood side by side, looking through the glass walls at the team setting up workstations and pinning sketches to the boards. For a moment, it felt as if the whole building was breathing differently, less mechanical, more alive. Can I ask you something? Callie said softly. Grayson nodded. Why me? You could have chosen anyone in this company. Quote, he hesitated, then looked at her with quiet honesty. Because you reminded me what purpose looks like. I had forgotten why I started all this in the first place. Her eyes warmed. To build technology that helps people? He shook his head. To build something that feels human. The words hung in the air between them, gentle and true. Callie wanted to say something, but her voice caught. Before she could answer, Miles entered the lab holding a folder. Mr. Hale, the investors' conference call is ready. Grayson nodded, his expression softening as he turned back to her. Duty calls. She smiled faintly. Go. The world needs its tech genius. He started to leave, then stopped. You know, I used to think feelings were distractions, but now I am beginning to think they might be the best algorithm we have. Callie laughed lightly. Careful, that almost sounded poetic. He smiled, a real one this time. Must be your influence. Quote, that evening, when the last of the employees had gone, Callie sat alone in the lab. The city's lights glimmered outside, reflections dancing across the glass walls. On her desk sat the little framed screenshot Grayson had given her the wrong text that started everything. She picked it up and traced the edges of the glass, whispering to herself, "Best mistake ever." A faint sound of footsteps made her turn. Grayson stood at the doorway again, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Still working?" She nodded. "Just wrapping up. And you?" "I was thinking," he said, walking closer. "About beginnings." She raised an eyebrow. "Beginnings?" He handed her a cup. "Every innovation starts with a spark. Every connection, too." Their eyes met, steady and sincere. For a moment, neither spoke. Then, softly, he said, "You changed more than this company, Callie. You changed me." Her heart skipped. "I did?" He nodded. "Completely." Quote. Callie looked down, smiling through tears she did not try to hide. "Then, maybe that text was not wrong after all," he chuckled quietly. "No, it was exactly right." Outside, the night stretched endless and bright, and inside the glowing lab that bore her idea's name, 2 people stood together, no longer CEO and employee, but something far more genuine. Something that had begun with one tiny spark. 2 months later, Tiny Spark's lab was thriving beyond expectation. Major companies had begun reaching out for partnerships, and the story of its creation spread quickly through business media. Reporters loved the phrase, "a mistake that made history." Callie Monroe barely had time to rest. Her days were filled with meetings, mentoring new hires, and refining designs. Yet every evening, no matter how long the day had been, Grayson Hale found an excuse to stop by her office. Sometimes he brought coffee, sometimes a question about code, and sometimes nothing at all. They would simply talk until the building grew quiet and the skyline shimmered outside the windows. One Friday night, the office was nearly empty when Grayson appeared again. "You should go home," she teased, looking up from her laptop. "Even billionaires need sleep." He smirked slightly. "Only the smart ones." Callie laughed. "And which one are you?" "The stubborn one," he said, stepping closer. His tone softened. "But lately, I am learning that stubbornness is not the same as strength." She set her pen down, studying him. "What do you mean?" "I used to think being untouchable made me strong," he said quietly. "Now I know it only made me lonely." The words hit her deeper than she expected. "You are not alone anymore," she whispered. He looked at her for a long moment before speaking again. "You know, I never thanked you for that text, for being brave enough to be real." Close quote. Callie smiled gently. It was not bravery. It was clumsy fingers and bad timing. He shook his head. No, it was honesty, and honesty is rare. Silence fell between them, comfortable and full. Grayson took a slow breath, then reached into his pocket. He pulled out something small, a delicate silver necklace with a charm shaped like a tiny spark. "This is for you," he said. A reminder that even mistakes can turn into light. Callie's hand trembled as she took it. "It is beautiful." "Good. It suits you," he replied. She fastened the necklace around her neck, her heart racing. "Thank you, Grayson." He smiled, a quiet warmth in his eyes. "You do not have to thank me, Callie. Just keep believing in what you started." Because that belief, it changed everything. As the city lights glowed behind them, she realized the truth in his words. What began as an embarrassing accident had become not only a movement, but also the foundation of something far more personal, something she could no longer deny. And as Grayson turned to leave, she called after him softly, "Best mistake ever?" He glanced back, smiling. Without question. 1 year later, the sun poured through the glass walls of the Tiny Sparks lab, now filled with laughter, movement, and success. New faces joined the team every week, and the lab had become a symbol of innovation across the country. Callie Monroe walked through the familiar space, her necklace glinting in the morning light. The charm, shaped like a spark, rested just above her heart, a reminder of how far she had come. She paused in front of the framed message on the wall. The very first text she had ever sent to Grayson Hale, printed and signed by both of them, now hung in the lobby. "If I ever meet that arrogant tech guy in person, I would probably flirt with him just to watch him lose control." Every visitor stopped to read it, often laughing, but Callie never felt embarrassed anymore. It had become a monument to the beauty of imperfection and to the courage it takes to send one honest message into the world. That afternoon, the company hosted a small celebration marking the one-year anniversary of the lab. Cameras flashed, employees cheered, and reporters gathered to capture the moment. When the speeches ended, Grayson took the stage beside her. "Tiny Sparks was born from a mistake," he began, his voice calm but warm. "But what matters is not how it started, it is what it became. A reminder that progress, like love, begins when we stop pretending to be perfect." Quote. Then he turned to her, holding something small in his hand, a ring box. The crowd gasped softly as he continued. "Callie Monroe, you showed me that humanity belongs in everything we build, even in me. You changed this company, this vision, and my heart. So, I have one question." Her breath caught as he knelt, the entire room frozen in silence. "Will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes. She nodded, barely able to speak. "Yes, Grayson, 1,000 times yes." Quote. Applause erupted, cameras flashing as he slipped the ring onto her finger. He leaned closer, his voice soft just for her. "Best wrong text ever sent?" She smiled through her tears. "The best." Outside, the city skyline glowed gold against the afternoon sky, and from the window of Hale Technologies, the two of them stood together, no longer boss and employee, but partners in life and purpose. Their story had begun with a single mistake, but it ended as proof that even in a world of algorithms and deadlines, the truest connection still starts with something deeply, beautifully human. Hello everyone, please subscribe and turn on the bell to support our channel. It's free and helps us a lot. Where are you watching from? Tell us below. Thank you very much.